Hey you! Subscribe to this channel before I eat the cats. This is Lucius, a boy ball python. I'm Zosia, the girl human.
And I'm Scott, a Wookiee, and this is...
Family Tanks.
So Zosia, what are we doing today?
We're talking about the pros and cons of keeping snakes as pets. And in my opinion, they're great.
They are great pets, but we do want to go over some of the pros and cons for any family that's considered bringing in a snake as a family pet, right?
Yep.
So Zosia, why don't you start off with the first con that we had considered?
Some people don't like the process of feeding.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about that.
You basically just handle with tongs and just like dangle a little rat or mice, and they bite it and constrict it, or maybe they just bite it and eat it full and without biting, and
They swallow it
in
all.
their body, and that might disturb some people.
Yep, that's really well said. So some people just might not be okay with the idea of watching a snake swallow a rat whole.
For us, it's just their nature. And
It's
so
nature's
cool.
way, and we're okay with it. But that's something to consider both for yourself or if there's somebody else in your house which is going to be really traumatized by having that happen in their home. It's just something to consider, right?
Yes.
Now, another con or a potential con is that reptiles in general, snakes included, all require a temperature, if not temperature and humidity, which is different than most humans find comfortable in their homes.
Yeah, versus like a guinea pig or a hamster that can just stay room temperature.
Exactly.
Without heating, lighting, and
Yep,
everything
yep,
like that.
you're exactly right. So dogs, cats, most mammals will be comfortable in temperatures and humidity conditions that we find comfortable and are probably already in our homes. So that makes it that a little bit easier. Now, snakes and reptiles, on the other hand, they need a basking spot, they need a temperature gradient, and some have special humidity requirements, especially like our froggies over here, although
Yes.
they're amphibians. Don't tell them that, though. They think they're people, but they're amphibians. Yeah.
Be yourself, guys.
Be true to yourself. But it's something to consider that you will have to create an environment that has conditions, environmental conditions inside that are different than that of your home, right? Why don't you give us another potential con of having a family pet snake?
So there's lots of upfront costs. For example, the coconut. The tank.
Coconut.
The coconut. They don't need the coconut. They just hide, another hide, the bedding, the heat pad,
source.
the lid, the tank.
Exactly, the tank. So there is
guide
a certain amount of
thing.
investment on the front end. Now, I would say it's similar to that of an aquarium or some other things like that, but do keep in mind that you're not going to go out and spend $25 and be ready to go.
No.
It doesn't have to be super expensive, but there is a certain amount of upfront cost, right?
Yes.
Okay, and one other we wanted to bring up, a potential con, is that not all locations are okay with you owning a pet snake or having a pet snake there. I can't talk today, can I?
Nope, not today.
The pet snakes are sometimes not encouraged in certain apartment buildings, dorm rooms, things like that, and you'd want to check to make sure that where you're living is okay with that. Now, I would go so far as to say that reptiles get an unfair bad rap from a lot of places. People are like, oh, no reptiles, because they get the ickies from them because of an irrational fear. But nevertheless, it's easier to know this before you go into reptile care, right?
Yes.
That way you don't have a problem when someone complains
Legally.
rationally or irrationally.
Might get fined and
Exactly.
all
You
that
might as well know that on the upfront, if you will. And then what's the last con that we had talked about?
stuff. Well, technically, I guess it does count.
Because count.
It does count that they are kind of cuddly around your finger. Because, well, we are worms, but like they wouldn't come up to you like, I want to hug you, I love you, like a dog would, or cats probably wouldn't do that either. Because, well,
She's right. They're fascinating, and they do interact with you in their own snaky kind of way.
I interact with you, he says.
Right, but they don't bond with us the same way that cats and dogs do, for instance, right?
Cats don't even do it.
Exactly. They're kind of like, oh, okay, you're warm. That's good. They like a certain amount of exploration. You can see Lucius zooming around here in Zosia's hands, right? But they're not really like, they're not eager to see you like a dog. They're not going to curl up in your lap and watch, watch TV. That's just not what they do. They're more of an observe fascination kind of pet, right?
But that's fine with us.
Totally. So let's go into some of the pros. This is the good stuff, and this is why we love our pet snake and love keeping these kind of things so much. So start us up.
Okay, so the first pro is easy to feed. It's so simple, really. Once a week, you bring out tongs with one rat or mice.
Frozen rats too.
They can be. Well,
These days, most snakes, unless you get a temperamental one, will eat prepared frozen rats or mice, whatever it is that they're sized for, that you can just keep in your freezer, and then you don't even have to deal with the whole living mouse thing, right?
So you basically just pull out. You can do anything you want while it's defalling in water. Take it out, dry it a little bit, and then bring it over to tank with tongs while I'm going through the process. And then, let's just say he's in his coconut, and he just dangle it in front, shake it around, and boom, he detects it. He I'm forgetting the word. He constricts it, and then he eats it.
Swallows it whole, right?
And that's basically it.
But the process is super easy. So, how often do we feed our cats?
Every day.
Every day, twice. Well, actually, 3 times a day.
Wow.
Because I feed them a little bit again at night, right? And we'll get into that in a future video, right?
Yes,
The right way to feed your cats, because most people are a little off on that one. But we feed Lucius once every 5 days, and that's only because he's a baby and he's growing more.
They can get up to every other week.
Every other week, and some snakes will go once a month. Some big snakes, which is a different story, can even go once every few months. But that's a different story.
Yeah, but they eat a lot at a time.
Yeah, that's when they eat a small Wookiee or something. But nevertheless,
they would eat you as a child.
They totally would. That's totally would. I'm a dead man. But they're really easy to feed. Now, with that, they're also very easy to care for. So when we maintain Lucius's starter, and this is just his baby enclosure, he'll end up with a bigger one when he gets older. But when we maintain it, he poops about every 5 days. But he gives a good poop for about every time he eats. And I literally just take and scoop out that, throw it away, and then about once a month we clean the whole enclosure, put some new bedding in, and I freshen up the water once a day, maybe once every other day if I happen to forget, and that's it.
In the world, I think.
No walks. No, scoop and poop on a daily basis. None of that. They're super, super easy to care for, which is part of the reason what makes reptiles so cool, right? And what's another pro that we could offer about having a pet family snake?
They're very self-contained. This little box right here is for this size of snake, and as it grow up, it'll go up to.
Well, it depends on the snake, size. Right? Yeah, he'll end up in a bigger one when he gets older. But they don't take tons and tons of rooms. They certainly don't go tearing around your house.
Like cats and dogs.
They don't put stuff all over like birds can with their cages. They just kind of live in their environment. Once you set up the appropriate size environment, and you take out and interact with them and then put them back, but there they stay. They're completely contained, which is great.
Happy as always.
And that actually brings us into another one of the pros, is that they are pretty much 100% allergen-free. Allergen-free. They're pretty much allergen-free, so that's a non-worry with most reptiles.
I can give you allergies.
And most people, I should say. And they don't make any sounds. Snakes in particular.
Except for Lucius.
Lucius doesn't make any sounds.
Listen. I will subscribe. Make sure to subscribe.
Okay, except when he's asking you to subscribe to our channel. It doesn't make any sounds. He's just this beautiful thing that sits there and we can observe and be fascinated by. But what do birds do all day? Right? We don't need that.
That
okay?
sounds like an angry bird.
Dogs bark. They bark at the neighbors. They bark to wake you up. Cats will scratch at the door, scratch things, destroy your furniture.
What about fish?
Fish. Oh, they're always having a huge part. It sounds like a Van Halen concert there half the time,
and then
right?
frogs are like.
When's the last time Lucius was scratching at our carpet?
Well, the problem is we don't have a carpet for him.
When's the last time Lucius barked?
problem is he isn't a dog.
Right? So they're quiet and self-contained and don't have any allergies, which
Except
is awesome.
You tell them when they tell you to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. And Zosia, why don't you give everybody the last pro that we were thinking of for families
there's
considering
one
a
more
snake?
after
Oh,
that.
sorry, the second to last pro.
That one's amazing.
Okay, so what's the second to last pro to consider for families that are considering bringing in a snake for a pet?
They're inexpensive options.
Exactly. We did talk about upfront costs, that's true, but generally speaking,
getting
they can be
these
relatively
guys.
inexpensive options.
This guy is a regular ball python.
And we got him at a reptile show, right?
Yes.
And what did we pay for him?
$32.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't have to pay a lot. Now, there are species you can pay lots for, but that's a different thing.
Yes, I remember when we saw like the banana piebald pastel butter mix when I was crazy.
Yeah, there's some that are like crazy
and it
expensive,
was
but
like $400.
but
Have
you
you
know,
seen this
$30 for a beautiful snake is not anything to be worried about. I mean, that's great, and particularly they're very long-lived. I will say this also on that note, that snakes will live a lot longer than your typical gerbil or hamster.
Yes.
And that makes them a great value for the money you put
Yes.
in as well.
They can live up to 20 years.
Yeah, depending on the species, but yeah, absolutely. Now, Zosia, let's give the most important pro for families considering getting a pet snake.
Let's say it together. They are
Awesome!
fun, cool, awesome.
They're so cool.
Look at this guy.
And besides, it's just cool to be like, what do you have? I have a dog. What do you have? I have a cat. What do you have? I have a python. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? This kid's got a python.
Yeah. And then what if you had a cobra? You're like,
If snakes
This
had
kid has a
arms,
cobra.
they would do this every time. They'd be like, I'm a
Yeah.
snake. Right? But they're so cool. And that is really the greatest thing. It's just a wonderful source of fascination. And
So
you've
interesting.
become quite the snake expert, haven't you?
I love snakes.
She's all about it now. So we are really happy as a family to have Lucius in our circle here, right?
Our
And
circle
do you have
pets,
anything else to add, Zosia?
They're so cool.
They're cool. So make sure
Too.
to like and subscribe to our channel.
Wait,
like this video, subscribe to
Wait.
the channel. Wait.
Let's listen to Lucius. Subscribe! That was a squawk.
Okay. That was Lucius barking, and he was barking at you that you need to subscribe to our
Yes, it
channel
really
to make
helps
sure
us.
that we get more followers and get more momentum and
More snakes, more pets.
to get more cool stuff going
Get a
on.
cobra one day.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, Zoe.
I want to.
Yeah, you can go work
Let's
at a
go,
zoo.
let's-
We're
let's
not
go-
getting a
Let's
cobra.
go get a reticulated python.
Not gonna happen, no, because we
Yes,
have
yes,
cats and we
yes.
love our cats and we don't want to. But anyway,
You never know.
stick with us. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Thank you for joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he said goodbye.